We're starting off high.
We can get
I think
two fools agree on that one. Oh, by the way, look, we got the wide shot.
There was you had accountability. Now what I can
Now all you need is a podcast and a YouTube channel.
No, not even.
Where give me the money. Show me the money.
Apparently there's a Foolproof page.
Shoot the J. Shoot it. Live on Facebook.com/Foolproof Entertainment Network. I need you on Twitter. I need you to repost the Facebook pages.
To raise a human before I would
Trust human to raise back wolves.
before I would trust a pack of humans to raise a wolf.
Right. I hear you. Yo, what up, fools? Welcome to another edition of Do Fools Agree. As always, I am your host, Michael Reggie, here with my main man, Clifford Jordan Jennings.
Hello.
Hello there.
Hello.
What's going on, sir?
Excuse me.
That good, huh?
I don't know, like, right.
Right.
I ain't hit the lotto yet or nothing like that, but
Yeah, me either. That'll be all right,
still
though.
breathing, you know.
We'll get through it.
I'm still breathing, so
Still breathing. I'm still standing. I'm still strong.
Still strong. On the upside.
Oh, man. Well, I don't know. I don't have much this week. I
was about to drop a bomb on me.
No, but I have spent a little bit of time playing the new Harry Potter game.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, man. I will. It is. I mean, one, it's the only game out in terms of new stuff, and I've been craving a new, single player story driven thing for a while. And even though I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan, the game is legit, man. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of
from a lot of people.
There's a lot of engaging side quests. There is, I mean, that's really the only way you can describe it. Is it's fun and again, not a huge Harry Potter fan, but being able to immerse yourself in that world it's a good time. So I've been between job hunting and that, or job hunting, I've been playing that and then hanging out with the kiddo. Almost made it to platinum on Rocket League, so got that going for me.
I don't know what that means. He said, got that going for me. What's that mean? What's that mean?
Oh, it's like the tournament ranking. So you go from, I think there's 4 or 5 ranks. I think it's bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and then diamond is the highest, but even my kiddo isn't at diamond yet, so I keep inching my way towards platinum, and then the season will change and I'll miss it. But
But yeah, I heard some good things about the Harry Potter game.
Yeah.
My whole thing is, and I think I agree with you, where I'm just enough of a fan to where I probably would get a kick out of it.
I think
I've only seen one movie before, but it didn't bore me.
Yeah. No, and the thing is the customization isn't quite what I would want, but there are so many options in terms of what you can do that even though it's not truly customizable, you can lean into certain things. So right. You can lean into the spell casting, which is kind of required because of combat and those kind of things. But you can lean into the herbology and growing plants. You can lean into the potions. You can lean into certain kinds of side quests that are, your standard kind of seek and find type stuff, like grab all the flowers or whatever it was in
Right.
Assassin's Creed. Grab all the
All,
floating
all the
feathers.
games.
Yeah. But there's enough story around it that it's solid, and I'm a fan.
I'm not interested until they add the multiplayer.
Yeah.
And even when they add it, because you know me, I don't care how good a game is. If it doesn't have multiplayer, I kind of feel like I'm wasting my time on it.
Yeah.
Unless I'm just that into the story.
Well,
you know?
and this is definitely a game. So I've probably logged 20, 25 hours, something like that. And I'm at 30% on the game in terms of like the challenges like completed. So, you know, to me,
some competition or some camaraderie or something going on for me to be interested in a game.
Is there drop-in? I don't know if there is right now or not. I think there is going to be drop-in like co-op, like where people can join you in your game and like do missions and stuff with you, but I can't remember for sure. For some reason, I feel like, or maybe I'm getting that mixed up with something else. No, I'm getting that mixed up with a couple of the Final Fantasy games I've been playing.
You can't have like they couldn't add a spell off, a spelling bee, if you will.
I don't know. There are like mini games in it where you have like where you duel against NPCs. And there's another mini game that's kind of like reverse. I don't want to call it bowling, but it's almost like reverse shuffleboard, where like you're bringing these balls back across the like the platform, and you have to get it as close to you as possible without falling off, so that it counts. Hence shuffleboard. But I don't know. I don't know if there's definitely mechanics in the game that would lend itself well to co-op or competitive gameplay, but I don't know if they're doing that.
Is there any sort of hand-to-hand combat at all?
It's not necessarily hand-to-hand. It's spell to spell.
Okay.
So, like, you've got people and animals that try to attack you, and then you use spells to defend yourself and attack back.
I just didn't know if it was, at all a tactical advantage for Harry to throw a blow and shank somebody with his wand real quick as he was passing through. Right, I don't know. I don't know.
Shanking somebody's not really in the Harry Potter lore. I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but
I cast a spell over here and then I just hit this dude right here with the wand in the neck, and then I go back to this when I flick off the blood.
You know what?
Expelliarmus.
You know what I want? I want a Sons of Anarchy role-playing game.
Oh shit, you going somewhere now.
Like your motorcycle gang, you have all the combat elements, you can customize your bike, customize your character. You could go on missions or whatever. Like I feel like that's a missed opportunity.
I think they tried to do that. Keep it a buck. I think actually, if I'm being honest with you, I think you're a bit late to the party.
Oh yeah, did they do one and I missed it? Or are you saying that's Grand Theft?
The Sons of Anarchy party and all that is what I'm getting at. But back when Sons of Anarchy
was actually on,
right, they were on. It wasn't quite in like their heyday, but getting towards the end of it. The Grand Theft Auto released that Lost in the Damned or something like that.
Okay.
And it was real, Sons of Anarchy vibey.
Yeah, was it? You said Lost in the Damned. Was that GTA 5? Or was that even before that?
It was before 5. It was when they were releasing, like at one point before it was hella online play, they just was releasing different GTA scenarios.
Okay.
It was a double disc. It was that one, and it was the one where you run the nightclub with the gay Tony dude or whatever.
Okay, I got
They
you.
were both in the same.
See, but that means it's old enough that like it would be due for something now. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I do think you could do it as that kind of single player / co-op, And the graphics and stuff today would make it amazing.
The question would be, what would they be able to use as their barometer to confirm whether or not people would be into that nowadays?
I mean, honestly, the Red Dead Redemption games, Red Dead Redemption 2 was one of the best selling of all time. So is GTA. It's almost combining those two things. You know what I mean?
No, I definitely understand. I'm just thinking, and I do like the concept that you're on, but I'm saying, like, what do we have entertainment wise or even, culturally that
would warrant like a motorcycle gang type,
right, would get people,
But that's actually my argument to do it, is that we don't have anything that kind of fits that niche right now.
But maybe that's for a reason as well, because we know the Hells Angels and all them motherfuckers was terrorizing for a while. So maybe they don't want to, romanticize the lifestyle to have people like, nah, fuck playing it. I'm about that now.
I mean, you can make that same argument with GTA, though. And it's one of the best-selling games of all time.
I don't disagree with you.
I'm just thinking, like, I think you could do it, and I think you could do it in a way that felt unique and new, and like if you did it with like co-op and all of that, that would be. And it doesn't even have to be Sons. It could be to the point, like it could just be a motorcycle gang video game. You know what I mean?
Right. No, I would definitely be into that.
Let's build it.
Shit. I think I could build a crazy game if you gave me the time.
I hear you.
Not me build it, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying conceptually type
concepts shit. And those kind of things.
Right.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm not that gifted. You know?
All right. Well, I'll start writing my letters to EA and BioWare and who's the one that does Red Dead? Rockstar.
Mm-hmm.
I'll start writing my letters in. Rockstar needs to make a motorcycle gang combo of GTA and Red Dead Redemption. Almost like the Red Dead story beats, but in a GTA world, and it's motorcycle focused instead of car focused.
Or horse, right?
Yeah, right. Sold. Make it, print, seal it, ship it.
Nah, I wouldn't be against it.
All right, well, we dove into some tangential topics there. You got any inadvertents to get us going? Or do we want to jump in?
I don't really have an inadvertent. I will say, though, an update from last week.
Okay.
I remember I was talking about them playing music at the Speedway and what they would have to play for them to really run them off. In the last couple of days that I went, update for everybody out there, they haven't been playing anything at all.
They gave up.
And nobody's really been out there. So just maybe
they were doing
like
too much.
Music. They want to party too. So whether it's Baby Shark or motherfucking Mozart, they out there.
They're not out there anymore.
They're giving them a bacon soundtrack.
They're in their own movie.
They orchestrating a symphony. You, huh? You got it? All right. Go ahead. God bless.
Oh, so I wanted to circle back sort of to the conspiracy discussion, but more like relevant news topics. The first being this close to our home on the east side of the state, this train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio.
You know who did that, right?
Oh, who did it?
That's the real conspiracy. You know who did that, right?
I'm listening.
They just got the wrong Palestine.
Clifford. Oh, man.
Oh, shit. I'm playing.
No, I mean, ultimately, it's, deregulation in that space that led to it. But the fact that there has been very little, I mean, even local here, but no national coverage. There was another one down in Texas not too long ago, too. So what is happening with the trains?
That's a good question. You know what? It's funny that you say no national coverage or anything like that, because there hasn't been that I've really seen. But they were talking about it on the Flagrant 2 podcast with Andrew Schultz and them.
Were they?
Yeah, they were talking about that and the one in Texas, and they were saying, like, basically same concept. Like, is it a conspiracy? And they looked it up and everything, and they said, I can't remember the stats, but basically what it came down to is 60% of trains do carry hazardous chemicals.
Which is part of the reason they're on trains and not in airplanes and those kind of things.
Right.
That makes sense.
And there is, I can't remember the exact number, but it's a little more or less than 5 train crashes a day.
A day?
A day.
Okay. Or now, does that include like minor things, or is that just derailments where they come up?
Now that I don't know, because I don't know who like I'm listening to it, so I don't know exactly what the specifics of his Google were, but they were going pretty in depth into it. So they had a specific number, and that's the only way I can remember the number is because one of the co-hosts were like, "Oh, you mean that's 5 crashes a day?" They even got, I'm not even going to get into all that. Tune into the Flagrant 2 podcast if you want that information. But I'm not about to repeat it to get canceled over somebody else's shit. So yeah. I'll leave it at that. But I say, I don't think that it's a coincidence.
Looks like my mom just chimed into the chat as well that there was another one in Michigan too.
Yep, there sure was. I just heard about it. I don't think these are coincidences. And it's another thing is the funniest shit. Well, not even the funniest shit of the conversation, but the instant assumption was it's China. China flying balloons and crashing planes all at the same time.
Crashing trains.
Listen.
I mean...
train. I keep saying planes. Trains, you know what I mean.
Yeah. The problem, I don't know. Like, yes, it has the potential to cause ecological harm and probably has to soil and water. I don't know about the Michigan and Texas one. There were harmful chemicals that leaked into the ground in Ohio that have the potential to impact soil and water for miles around, if not further.
Where is that?
Out by Steubenville. So near the West Virginia.
Out by where?
Out by Steubenville, so the West Virginia PA border. So it's right next to the Ohio River, which is the big concern, is that you're leaking into the Ohio River, and that's a big river system that, you know, impacts a lot of different areas. I don't know that there's anything that would point to it being
a
conspiracy or terrorism. The only conspiracy is criminal negligence on behalf of, you know, the train lines and kind of thing. And
you see it going on with buildings and bridges and all that. It's pipes. They're just not up to code.
Right.
Look at the amusement parks. There's an amusement park accident every fucking week.
Yeah.
Because it was the point where these motherfuckers that built the shit with the best parts and all that, and they were actually keeping track of it. And now, since we get to these recycled cardboard parts and cardboard straws and shit, they like, shit, I trust it. Look at what it's made of. Like, of course, it doesn't need no maintenance. It's made of steel. It's going to hold.
Right. Well, and that's the thing, too, is that in order to increase the bottom line, they've cut back on things like maintenance and upkeep and those kind of things.
Uh-huh.
And until you have robots walking around parks tightening bolts, You can't do that.
Right. And it's capitalism. It's capitalism at its finest. And I'm not saying that, like I said, I don't want to be one of them guys. It's like I'm not for capitalism. But at some point, you have to say you've had enough.
Yeah, there has to be some level of social responsibility. If we want to treat corporations like they are people in terms of legal rights, those kind of things, like they also need to be held accountable.
It's crazy because the dude, I know he's hot on the internet, making us some views. The dude, Andrew Tate. He be saying some shit though, if you really listen to him. Not, sometimes he's outrageous, but that's what gets him the views. So he's gonna be. But he said once you reach a certain amount of money, there's no point of having any more than that.
Yeah, and I mean we've talked about that. The number's 500 million, right?
Well, see, that's interesting because he said less than. I think he said like half of that.
Okay.
And my whole thing is, I'll give you an extra half. And that's how we get to the 500 million.
Right.
Because it's like, yeah, you may want to go crazy and try to spend that 250 mil and still have something to leave to your family when you go. Have the 500.
Right.
But once you exceed that number, it's real weird to me how motherfuckers just don't really scratch their head. Like, what are you doing with it?
Right.
Like, what are you doing with it? Because if it's just sitting there for no reason, that's how motherfuckers be. I let it sit in my IRA or my
in
MFL
some sort of
the
account.
fuck I don't give. It's like, well, like meanwhile motherfuckers is starving and you write shit off for less.
Right.
So it's good to have that 500, circulate the rest.
Right.
Pay that people that actually work for you. How about that?
Well, again, like retarget the efforts to. I agree with in terms of distributing within the folks that work for you. I also think that then put more of that, and I mean there are billionaires, millionaires that do this, but put more of it towards social good initiatives, like clean water, food,
yeah, I mean,
those
okay,
kind of things.
Let me stop. I definitely shook my head, and I would shake my head if I was on camera in the motherfucker press conference and they was talking about it.
No.
Nah, fuck all that. Put it back into
the community.
Yes, the areas that don't have it. Lift everyone. Because, see, this is the thing.
No, I'm with you. A rising tide lifts all ships.
Right. Then that's what I'm saying. We've operated off of that old school mindset of I have to stay here so y'all can stay there.
Right.
And
more to the point, y'all got to stay there so I can stay here.
Right. And everybody who was expected to succeed from that has already done so.
Right.
If you didn't get your money out of that, that's on you. You're dumb. Now it's about time for everyone to get some, so you get more. Even the motherfucker who claimed he had his foot on your neck gets more in that situation.
Right.
So it's like, why are we just stuck on this old way of doing things? Like, it's good for everyone.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
What's good for the masses is still good for the 1% as well. Unless it's a situation where you can't have no more than 500 mil.
Right.
Now I understand why you're kicking and screaming and throwing tantrums.
Right.
I just don't get it. And then gold ain't worth shit anymore anyway.
Right.
Our money is off the gold standard, so what the fuck is it other than paper at this point?
It is. It's paper and it's made up. I mean,
the idea of
right. I mean, it's the same with digital currency, right? Like, and that's what it's all moving towards. And at that point, it is truly just it's a artificial mechanism that doesn't really mean anything. But that's where you have concerns about doing something like universal income. Is if people could live and not have to contribute, they wouldn't. Possibly.
No, that is the fact. And see, that's the thing. If we ever get to a point of the people being happy, right? And they allow us a situation where we can pay our bills and live comfortably without working, you can trust and believe the next 2 to 3 generations would not.
Yeah.
And half of that is because of the monster they created of making everyone else work so much.
Right.
It's like, oh, you're giving me opportunity. I can live with less if I don't have to do this.
Right.
Everybody's going to begin doing that. And then you're going to have generations of children who watch their parents not do anything at all. See, that's the difference. You can't do anything. You can't just sleep your life away. Well, you know what? Sleep your life away.
I mean, no, you live it in the metaverse.
I'm just keeping it a buck. And maybe the conspiracies or the powers that be didn't have to crash so many trains with chemicals on them. Sleep your life away. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what you want in the end anyway. People that are out your way.
Yeah.
And if you're giving people an amount to live off of, then that definitely slims the pool of who's really out to get it.
Right.
Oh, you're still out here after we paid y'all, this, whatever you're supposed to stipend or whatever, and you're still wanting, okay, now I know your competition.
Right. Right.
I mean, this shit is easy, but like I say at my job, if it makes sense, that's probably not the way we should be doing it. So you better ask somebody.
Yeah. Because
if it makes sense to you, you're wrong. That's not the right way to do it. Look it up.
All right, let's shift gears. UFOs. Actually, no. I want to hit the Earth's core.
It's not UFOs.
No?
You said it. I'm sorry. We can't hit the Earth's core unless for some reason the Earth's core leads into your conversation about the UFOs.
No, start with UFOs because we're going back to Cliff was abducted last week.
I'm trying to tell you, and I'm not about to snitch on my squad, so maybe I'm lying, maybe I'm rocking. But it's not UFOs. It's not. How the fuck can it be? How the fuck are we just shooting down UFOs? The only way we're shooting down UFOs, and the only way we're shooting down UFOs is if these motherfuckers fell asleep and missed their alarm. You feel what I'm saying? And they've been down in the ocean for years and years. And they never got their iPhone updates. And now shit's
they came up
newer.
To get the iPhone update.
Right, and they like, oh shit, we ain't ready. We can't make it out the atmosphere with this old ass iPhone.
We need a firmware update.
Right, you know what I'm saying? And we caught them because they on the old signal. We shot them down. Come on now. Now where's Area 52 and 3 and 4 and 5? Right, we ain't shooting no motherfucking aliens then. Because it'd be a new Area 51 in every state. One of them motherfuckers went down. You can believe that.
You don't know that there isn't.
Nah, ain't no fucking Area 53 in Detroit. I know that factually. I know that factually. It's too many black folks. I know it factually.
I did see I don't know. It was something on probably TikTok or something like that. And it was someone talking about if aliens wanted to come here for resources, there wouldn't be so much reconnaissance. If they could travel the galaxy and they wanted the resources, they'd just come here and take it.
Right.
And they felt that the only purpose outside of like immediate war and annihilation would be because they have a vested interest in humanity being successful.
Right, they have to.
And the only reason that they're here now is to try to keep us from going off the deep end in some way. And I think it could come down to self-annihilation, so World War III, the advent of AI, or the advent of an energy technology that we don't understand enough that could be dangerous. And that goes back to the conversation way back on like the Hadron Collider and like the nuclear fusion, etc.
Was it on this podcast where I was talking about the ripples in Africa?
No, yes, you did bring it up, but it wasn't coherent.
I don't know if I did it when Chris was on.
Okay.
But regardless, so it's a dude, I don't know what his proper term is, you know what I'm saying? Like he's a scientist or, you know, he studies the land or whatever it is.
Geologist or something.
You said what?
A geologist or something along that line, or maybe an archaeologist.
I don't think it was either of those,
okay.
But either way, what he did was he studied the ripples in Africa.
And it basically showed that at one point Africa was submerged, right?
Right, exactly. So he said that the ripples were 2,500 feet apart and up to 250 feet high. And he was saying like for that to happen, that would be like water that we couldn't even fathom the kind of water. And then I saw on Joe Rogan after that, he said that, well, he didn't say, but
his guess.
Science is figuring out that every so often the world tips on its axis. The water stays in the same spot though. So the world is turning and the water's staying there. So it's running over everything that was on land just off of GP. Because I'm just standing here and you're walking right into me.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. And I think that could actually tie into the Earth's core thing.
So listen, they said that it happens every so 1,000 years or whatever the case may be. And they said that we're at least 200 something years overdue. So that may explain anxiety, right? Because we talked about cows, how cows can recognize a storm and they, you know,
animals in general, but yeah,
at an angle to where you know where the storm's coming and going. Another interesting thing I'm gonna have to send to you, and I know I'm off a tangent because I'm off.
Nah, go for it.
Migos. But they said that the difference between cow and buffalo. They said whenever a bad storm comes, the cows turn, which is why you know where the storm's coming and going, and run away from the storm. The buffalo turns and runs into the storm. And the reason being because the storm passes over the buffalo and the buffalo leaves the storm as the cow is so scared that it's staying in the storm trying to get away from it.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's the same situation with
the earth tilt, the axis tilt.
Right. Not the same situation, but you feel
But it could be, to your point, it could be a natural response that we're not even aware of.
Right. I feel like the people, us as people, have high anxiety because we don't run in packs anymore.
Yeah.
We're not pack animals anymore. We don't fuck with each other. So
isolationist.
normally where we would be a stampede of cows running away and staying in the storm, we don't know where to run. So we just anxious and
wait.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's interesting you talk about the axis tilt because That's kind of the theory with the Earth's core and what's been happening recently, and recently being like over the last 50 years, is that the Earth's core has stopped rotating. So the molten core has stopped like moving and rotating, and is possibly changing directions, which would actually lead me towards your axis tilt comment. If this is something that happens, I think they were saying with regards to the core that it was I don't remember what it was. It's like every 100 years, 250 years, something like that.
Well, I don't know. The shit with the flowing of the Earth
was
was thousands of years.
So,
which would make sense because it would give a what do you call it? Like a human age, like Egypt, to rise,
right,
and then get wiped out. Because if the water stays in the same spot as the Earth changes real quick, everything's flat, G.
Yeah.
Everything's flat. Not only is everything flat, it goes back to the episode we had about the planets where they said the only one that's inhabitable that they've seen is the one where half of it's ice, half of it's lava, and the only inhabitable spot is right in the middle.
Right. No, I mean,
it takes us right back to that.
Well, and I think the other piece of it is, though, like, to your point, a quick shift in landmass. At that point, you possibly expose what is currently underwater land masses, too. And does that explain something like, the first people and the lost city of Atlantis? Like, at some point, does the Earth shift again where it's no longer a lost city?
They already discovered that, though.
It's possible. They've discovered underwater cities before. But
with the one, though, I don't even want to name where it was. I want to say by South America, though.
But I mean, wouldn't that also lend credence to that thought, though? That a sudden tilt in the axis or whatever, and if the water stays in the same place, you're going to reveal additional land masses, is my point.
Right. But my only thing that makes me question that is...
And is it... I guess my question from what you learned, though... Hold on, sorry. Is... Was it, like... seismic, almost catastrophic event, or was it gradually over time? Like, does it slowly change, or is it a quick shift?
Well, that I don't know, though, right? Because it seems like... Well, I don't know. I heard that they just found that what do you call it? That crater below Antarctica.
Uh-huh.
That was 2.5 countries big. Like they did it on a scale, and it was like they were basically saying if something like that hit that big to make a crater that big, life's not left.
Right.
Like it's lucky the Earth stayed intact type shit. So
I mean, is that the cataclysmic event for the dinosaurs?
Right? It
that the
pans
meteor?
out, right?
Right.
It's in the area, everything matches up. But what were we saying before?
The Earth tilt, the changing of the core, cities being lost, rediscovered.
It's not. I know it has to do with the tilt, but it's not striking my thought.
The question I had was it immediate or was it gradual over time?
There it is. That's what you said. I think something like that is immediate.
Yeah.
I think if anything with the weather that we see currently, if it has anything to do with the tilt, I think it's almost to the point like where the people before us were like, it's 75 degrees. Oh, it's 30 tomorrow. Whoa, it's gonna happen the next day. Okay, it warmed up a bit.
Are you talking about the weather in Ohio right now, Cliff?
You know what I'm saying? So basically what I'm saying is fuck the sundial. Fuck the Mayans. in the sundial. Where's the watch based off of the weather change to let you know when the axis shift happens and everybody's out of here? Because that's the real alarm clock.
Right. Well, I
you're
guess
not going to be able to hear water rushing through your window to let you know it's coming. No, that shit's going to be over you before.
Well, I mean, the question is how much, right? Like
water?
Well, no, how much does the axis change? Like, are we talking 500 miles of land, or are we talking 1,000? Like,
it doesn't matter if it shifts by point something degrees. Just that energy shift is gonna rattle shit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, that lends credence to the theory around the increase in earthquakes and stuff. And again, I think that could all be linked back to something to do with the Earth's core. Like if the Earth's core has changed directions in terms of how it spins, right, that could tilt the axis. It would also cause earthquakes, those kind of things. Like these could be all related events that are connected scientifically in a way that we don't understand yet, but it is something that has happened on this Earth thousands of times, millions of times over thousands of years. Right.
No, I agree with all that. That makes sense. I didn't understand what you were saying. Where I was going with it.
Yeah.
When you first, I get that exactly though. And that's tough for me because I've been drinking. So,
but I mean, to your point, what are the consequences of that in today's society versus ancient society? Like ancient society, things sprouted around the water, either for travel, for food, for agricultural purposes. What is the impact of that in today's society?
Well, before I even wrap my head around that question, I thought to myself while you were asking that, what if that was Sodom and Gomorrah? And I don't mean it from like any reason why it was wiped off situation. Yeah. But what if it is one of those situations where the earth just shifts ever so much to the point that the whole world sees the wave, but it dies over this area right here. And you're like, that's something I don't want to deal with.
Well, and I'll even take it back to the conversation around Norse paganism. And the Northern Lights potentially being the Bifrost Bridge. Maybe it's a matter of angles in terms of whether...
speaking Russian, and I don't understand it.
So Norse mythology, the Bifrost Bridge is the rainbow bridge that connects the world.
Norse is Viking.
Vikings, yep.
Right.
Thor, Odin, all of that. Heimdall.
Yep. Continue.
So the philosophy there is that the Northern Lights are a shadow of the rainbow bridge that used to connect the worlds. So it's and there's a scientific term for it. It's, I don't know, it's like a
Aurora Borealis.
No, I'm talking about the scientific of like basically a wormhole.
The Bering Strait?
Like a Rosenberg-Einstein bridge, something like that. It's something to that effect.
Okay, no.
But it's basically the idea of the concept that you're folding space and time. That's actually something they talk about in the Marvel movies too. But
they must be getting interesting, them books you read. I'm not saying that that's not, true or whatever the case may be. I just know that you've been on your
but it ties
Norse
to like
mythology for a few months now.
But it ties to the first people. It ties to aliens. It ties to a bunch of different things. And that Earth's tilt, if the Earth tilted its axis, does that put us back in connection with other worlds? If something like the Northern Lights is actually, a wormhole type bridge. Now, do I really think that that's what it is? No. But it does make it interesting that if that is something that repeats itself to your point, every 250 years, things like that, or every 1,000 years, that puts us about back in time with when those beliefs were still popular. And if you take it back another 1,000, believing in all the pagan gods and those kind of things there again. Like,
right. The god of Poseidon, I'm gonna pray to you because I see what you did to the world last time.
Right.
But my whole thing is this, right? And I could be completely wrong, and I usually am. Don't get me wrong, and I'm hoping that I am in this situation as well, right? But well, I'm hoping I'm not. Now that I think about, I don't really care because I've been saying they need to wipe us out anyway. So maybe I'm listen. But the only thing that bothers me about this, the whole theory, right? And I'm not saying that the theory could not be true. I believe the theory is true, but it makes me wonder, right? Because every map we've ever seen has the same dynamics unless we're looking at a map before, the continents drifted.
Right.
So my whole thing is if every so often, 250 or 1,000 years, it shifted, why would we not have two different versions of the map? You know what I'm saying? Like question. Two different sides of the equator, where this land mass is now on top now because it shifted, and then it shifted back, and now we have the Africa, America, North America. You know what I'm saying? Right. We know there's land everywhere under the water, and if you're shifting it, like you're rolling a dice or a cue ball in a pool match, eventually something would be on top that would not match with the map that we currently have today.
Yeah. So it's interesting. So I just looked up what was the first recorded world map, and it was ancient city of Babylon, sometime around 600 BC.
Mm-hmm.
Shows the world as a flat disk surrounded by an ocean or bitter river.
That makes sense.
But it looks vastly different from what we have today. Now, the question you have to ask yourself is that because they didn't have the technology or the resources to map it, or is it because it was different?
It's no question because back then, like I said, that was where there was still the Bering Strait. Everything was connected. You could walk wherever. You feel what I'm saying? So if I was the guy that walked the edges of land, I would still describe it as a circle.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? Regardless of the path that I traveled, it would be a circle. Now, once that circle breaks, it turns into the continents. I understand that. But then once the Earth shifts its axis, why is there not then new continents? Why is there not a new map that people don't then understand? Like, well, what is this? Where did this come from?
That's kind of my point, though. Like, I'm looking at these ancient maps, and the ones from 600 BC until about 1300 do not look like ours, but they look very similar to each other. And then at about 1500...
Wait, don't look like ours, but look very similar to each other, you said?
Yes. So, like, maps from 500 until 1300 look comparable to one another. But maps from like 1500 onward show a lot more land. So to the point, is that just based on their understanding? Or is that based on the fact that the land actually shifted?
That puts your question into perspective.
That's what I was trying to get at.
No, I understand exactly what you're saying.
And if you're saying it happens every 1,000 years and we're overdue, that's about in time frame. That's about in timeline. Interesting stuff, man. Now,
that kind of blows me.
the immediate assumption is they just didn't have the resources to circumnavigate the globe. Right? Like, the first to do that was, what, Magellan?
But that's also our arrogance of modern day thinking.
Right.
If somebody, or if the world actually tips its axis, we don't know that they didn't ride here on turbocharged cruise ships.
Right.
They could have traveled the world better than we were traveling the world before the shift took place.
Right. Which has me thinking of like Moana and looking for new land.
Listen. So my next question, if all of that would be true, right? We know that something survives. How big do you think that strip of land would be that people could survive inside of to reproduce and reconstruct?
Well, again, that comes back to my comment around like what the shift is and how much land is actually destroyed. Like,
right, and how much is available then.
Right. And you would think that continents like Asia, so Russia, Asia, like, if you would think that those continents, because of their sheer size, will be somewhat hospitable. Same with North America in particular. North America is wide enough and there's enough depth that there's probably some portion of some portion of Middle America that remains safe. And maybe it's from the Rockies to the Appalachian Mountains, because to your point, because of the height, that provides coverage from any kind of water coming in. Now, you probably end up with new lakes, rivers, streams, those kind of things. But the majority of the land between those two mountain ranges is probably safe, similar to areas of Russia and Asia that are mountainous. Now, I don't know there's enough land between us and like the Northeast that Ohio's probably borderline.
Well, shit. As long as I don't really care now that I think about it.
No?
I just don't want to be standing outside.
You don't want to be stopped. You don't want to be trapped in the middle of a big ocean.
You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see it coming. Like, God willing, I would be asleep and it would just wash me away in my sleep. But if I was like going outside, like to take the trash out or to get a coffee, and I just see a wave that engulfs the sun, I can't say that I wouldn't be in cardiac arrest as I was drowning.
Yeah.
But you only go once. Why not make it big? So
the Reach chiming in that 580 travel wasn't powered the same way it is today, that we know of.
right. I think that's our arrogance. I really do think that's our arrogance. We think we the first to do this shit.
Right.
But if that theory is true, that the Earth shifts its axis, it would rip away everything known to man.
Yeah.
And you would have to rebuild. So how many times have we rebuilt? We rebuilt.
In certain areas, though, that's my thing, is that ancient society, you were more likely to be closer to the water. Modern day society, it's not as likely. At least based on what we know. So would we be more protected than say ancient societies were because they were dependent on water and water sources?
Right. So you think it's more so of over dramatization because of the areas you had to inhabit when?
That's my point.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. Well, maybe it's somebody upstairs that's like, oh, y'all motherfuckers think I'm about to let y'all keep renting this bitch. I've been trying to evict y'all for a while.
We're gonna go a full almost not 180. What would be the full 90 degrees?
I'm about to scratch
axis.
this shit out this. Yeah, see what that water do to y'all then.
Well, maybe the aliens are the ones at the Earth's core making those kind of decisions.
That could be the case as well. Maybe they're all in a battle formation, which is a circle, hitting their nitros, going around as fast as they can, causing Katrinas and all that.
Right.
All I'm saying is I'm not snitching on nobody, right? Because, you know,
yep,
I'm their leader and all. No, I'm just but I'm listen, it is what it is. You know how I rock. But you had another one. What was the other one?
So it was the Earth's core, which is related to the earthquakes.
Wait. It was on the same topic? I thought it was something else that you had.
No, I think it was related to the Earth's core the more I thought about it. Let me see.
So would you rather drown or burn alive in lava?
Drown. Because then it's on my own terms.
I guess it's which side of the coin lands, right? Because if it's head first, lava may be best, but
it goes faster.
If you land feet first, I might need that water, baby. Even water.
Oh man!
You burn like a cigarette, standing straight up. I'm cool. I'm cool on all that, baby. Give me the water.
I'm with you. Water feels like it would just be more peaceful. Like eventually, yes, drowning is terrifying. You're losing air, but
my nigga, trust and believe. If the earth shifts its axis and the water rushes over your shit, you're not gonna have time to drown. That's a fact. That might even be the best way to go because it's just like somebody shutting your lights off.
Uh-oh. King Dread chiming in. We are the aliens. Think about it. All animals fit in the ecosystem but us. King Dread JR.
That's streets.
Oh, okay.
I agree with that to an extent. But I definitely don't believe that all like other animals benefit from life and we just don't.
What happens?
I mean from the earth.
Yeah.
Like I don't
What happens
agree
to
with
ocean
that.
life at that point?
You said what?
What happens to ocean life at the point of the Earth tilt? I guess they're okay because their surroundings stay the same more or less.
Right, because you can't change water.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you know exactly what I'm saying. You could have a bucket of water, and if you were fast enough, like the Flash, you could pull the bucket off of the water and run and come back and catch the water before it fell. So if the earth shifted and the water stayed the same, the animals would probably just get a good jerk and be like, the fuck was that?
No, but that's a good... I like how you just described that because that gives me more thought about it. Like if you think about it, of like throwing a bucket of water up in the air, pulling it down real quick, it leaves, but it hangs for a second.
Right.
To the point you could catch it again.
Right.
Yes, you're gonna have tidal waves and tsunamis that crash more of the Earth's surface at that point, but eventually that starts to recede back, which would give credence to.
You know what? That's why we do this together. Huh?
It is indeed.
That's a great point. The only thing that still is to the detriment of humankind is that even if the water went up, came back down, and only splashed on the edges, you have to worry about half of the earth being cold and half of the earth being hot.
Yeah.
At that point, you have to be in the perfect, like we talked about back before that Dune movie came out. You have to be, if you're living on either side, and I do believe you could survive on either side, but you would have to be deep enough in a cave or a hole to where,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it would be bad either way, and you wouldn't be able to trek out to either side to meet each other until that shit calmed down again.
Right. Man.
Fuck the zombies, and y'all spoiled bitches is worried about zombies. Y'all spoiled bitches in Florida worried about high motherfuckers eating faces. Motherfuckers was eating faces on Greyhound buses in Ohio. We ain't worried about none of that.
Oh man.
We worry about Mother Nature.
All right, man. What else? You got anything else on this topic?
Nope.
Let's call it an early one, though, because I think that was a good one. All right. Take us out, sir. What do you got?
I feel like you let me do enough. Love everybody.
Do us a favor. Like, share, subscribe. All that good stuff.
And hunker down.
I
don't even know if you could get a fucking... What's the name? What do they call it? Them things that rich,
a bunker,
paranoid white folks build in their backyard.
A bunker.
Yeah, I don't even know if you can get that. It's like water.
Yeah, it'd be underwater at some
coming
point.
In there.
Right.
You just created a. Never mind.
I'm gonna go the Fallout route.
Coffin.
I'm gonna go the Fallout route and start building vaults. All right.
I don't even know what that.
We'll check that out next time. Peace out, fools.